Okay, so we are moving, or we have moved from cloud to hybrid cloud to now multi-hybrid cloud, multi-cloud hybrid, I guess, environments, right? So everyone's got a little bit of Azure and a little bit of GCP and a lot of AWS maybe, and then got Nutanix over here, and then you got your on-prem, and you got some bare metal and whatnot. You've got Oracle here, this and that and the other. Managing all that is Kubernetes is called the new hypervisor in terms of like the microservices stack, right? It is the infrastructure operating plane. It's the abstraction layer. So are we expecting Kubernetes to be that abstraction layer across all these clouds, or because I hear of Terraform and I get confused, like, oh, so wait, Terraform is in competition with Kubernetes, or is Kubernetes on top of Terraform? Talk about abstraction of all this multi-hybrid cloud world.
Yeah, look, I think that the abstraction of different public clouds and different private clouds into one control plane it's a solution without a problem, right? I think that when this idea that we're going to get to one control plane to rule them all, it's never going to happen, right? Organizations are going to have to get ready for multi-cloud because, just the normal rhythm of business, right? M&A, business continuity, a whole bunch of different reasons, right? You're going to just acquire different cloud providers in your business over a period of time. It's just part of the rhythm of how things work. So do organizations need to get good at that stuff? Yeah, they need to make sure their governance is scalable, that they can apply common controls and common baselines. I think that, the benefit of things like Kubernetes is obviously they're available on multiple platforms, but unless you're rolling your own, you can't guarantee those Kubernetes servers are going to be identical, right?
Is anyone rolling their own Kubernetes? I mean, do you want to roll your own Kubernetes?
I mean, I used to, but that was before they came as a service, right? Now they come as a service, probably not, but not all Kubernetes as a service providers are made equal, right? Google's platform is different from Amazon's platform, which is different from Azure's platform, right? So you can't work on this assumption they're all going to behave in the same way. They've all got different database providers behind them, right? They've all got their own views about what a document store database or a relational database service looks like. They've all got different service buses. They've all got different storage subsystems. So this idea that you can run an app hybrid across multiple clouds at the same time, I don't think it's possible. I don't think the complexity you'd have to engineer is worth the outcome you get at the end of it. Stuff like Terraform, it's not there to solve the multi-cloud problem. It's there to solve the infrastructure as code problem. The fact that you can use a very similar language to write code for multiple different clouds is great, but because of the nature of their provider model, you've still got some variations in syntax and function between different clouds. They don't abstract it into a document database or a relational database. You're still making something to Cosmos or something to Dynamo, right? It just means that there's a single place where you can start to think about structuring your infrastructure patterns. And I don't think that they're in competition with Kubernetes. I think that they are complementary, right? Terraform is there to help you release and manage the state of your infrastructure in the cloud at a given point in time. So you plan based on the changes you've made to your Terraform code, you run a plan, it tells you, hey, this is the stuff we're going to go change, you release it and you apply it, and it then goes and applies those changes to your infrastructure. Now that might then result in some changes to your Kubernetes environment, but with Kubernetes, what you're doing then is you are building services more at the application level, right? They're sitting on a layer beneath Terraform. And whilst I think there's some people playing with whether you can provision databases through Kubernetes. Again, what's the benefit of centralizing? There's always going to be fragmentation of control planes. You're going to have to be good at pulling together multiple tools if you're going down a roll your own approach. I think that what Terraform gives you is different from what Kubernetes offers you, which is that you can apply really strong infrastructure as code practices to a development team across any or a number of different cloud providers. Whereas Kubernetes is giving you a framework for managing containers at scale. But how much do people really want to see of that, right? In the world of public cloud these days, if we're saying that Kubernetes is the hypervisor of containers, how much do people care about hypervisors in public cloud these days, right? We don't talk about it. It's invisible. And you can see, right?
I'll tell you what, the one thing that I hear is a recurring theme across all vendors that are trying to be some sort of level of abstraction or centralization. It is no vendor lock-in, right? You will not get locked in by selecting us.
I mean, maybe it's because I'm older and more cynical, but the idea that you can work in technology without any vendor lock-in, it's not realistic. It's not possible. You would spend so much time and effort making sure that you weren't locked in any way to anything, that you'd lose sight of what you're actually here to do, which is create value for your organization. It's a pipe dream. What's the problem with a bit of lock-in? We used to talk about it a lot when I was at Pearson, because there was a concern of, oh, are we with the right provider? What if AWS does something we don't like? Or what if it goes in a different direction? And we looked at it and we just said, look, the amount of time and complexity that we would have to keep managing and maintaining day to day to enable an immediate pivot is not worth it. If you're looking at mitigation and business continuity planning, then quantify what we call your lock-in debt, right? So if you think about tech debt, what's your lock-in debt? What's your minimum amount of time and cost to migrate cloud providers? And just factor that into any kind of business risk analysis that you're doing, right? If you're running due diligence as part of an M&A and you want to try and consolidate cloud platforms, just look at the lock-in debt. What services they're using, to what extent, how optimized is it for that cloud platform? If I wanted to change it, how long would it take me with how many people to move it to a more aligned stack? And then you'll look at it on a cost versus risk basis. It either is a worthwhile investment or it's not. But I think trying to make it an operational day-to-day concern is a mistake. You'll end up getting so distracted that you're failing your primary objective.